Welcome back to Bookcast, where we break down bestsellers in minutes.
You got it.
And today, we're diving into Heartless Hunter.
By Kristen Ciccarelli.
It's got magic, forbidden romance, and tons of twists and turns.
It's a really good one.
So, let's set the stage. The world of Heartless Hunter is ruled by the New Republic.
Yeah, they're pretty hardcore about law and order.
Especially when it comes to witches.
They see magic as a threat, a danger to society.
And they've got these witch hunters, called the Blood Guard, to enforce their laws.
Ruthless and efficient.
But at the heart of this story is Rune. She's living a double life.
Publicly, she's a model citizen, hates witches, totally on board with the New Republic.
But secretly,
She's the Crimson Moth,
a vigilante who rescues witches from execution.
a total badass.
Okay, so we've got this world where witches are persecuted.
And Rune is risking everything to save them.
What drives her to take on such a dangerous role?
It's personal for her. Her grandmother was a witch. On her deathbed, she made Rune promise to save a specific witch, Seraphine Oaks.
So it's an emotional mission, a promise to her dying grandmother.
It weighs heavily on her.
But how does Rune keep this double life going?
It's a constant balancing act. She has to be incredibly careful.
I bet. But she makes a decision, a really tough one, that helps her maintain her cover.
She betrays her grandmother to the Blood Guard.
Wow, talk about a moral dilemma.
It haunts her throughout the story.
The guilt, the weight of that betrayal, it really sets the stage for the inner turmoil she faces.
She's constantly questioning her choices.
So we've got this hidden world of magic.
And a protagonist living a double life with a high-stakes mission.
But what about the magic itself?
It's not your typical wand-waving, spell-casting magic.
Oh.
It's more visceral, more primal.
Okay, I'm intrigued. How does it work?
Rune uses blood magic.
Blood magic.
She uses her own blood to fuel her powers, to create illusions called mirages.
Illusions, huh?
Yeah, like disguises. She can change her appearance.
So kind of like shape-shifting.
Not exactly. It's more about manipulating perceptions.
Interesting. And these mirages are essential for her work as the Crimson Moth.
Right. They allow her to move undetected, to rescue witches without being caught.
But there's another layer to her magic, right?
There are more potent spells called menorahs.
And those require more blood.
Fresh blood, often sourced from her friend Verity,
Very.
her closest confidant. They have this intense bond.
A bond forged in blood magic. That's heavy.
And this is where the story takes a dark turn.
What do you mean?
It turns out Verity isn't who she seems.
Wait.
Brace yourself. Verity is actually Cressida,
Cressida.
the fallen witch queen, the one everyone fears.
Hold on. You're telling me that Rune's been getting blood from the most wanted witch in the land?
The whole time, it's a massive twist.
It changes everything.
All of Rune's actions, all her choices.
Suddenly, they take on a whole new meaning.
It wasn't just friendship motivating Verity, it was manipulation. A carefully orchestrated plan to use Rune.
Wow, talk about a betrayal. But amidst all this deception.
Rune's path crosses with another key player.
Yeah.
Gideon Sharpe,
And who is he?
a dedicated witch hunter.
A witch hunter.
Rune's worst nightmare.
Talk about forbidden love.
Their initial encounters are filled with suspicion and distrust.
Naturally. But how do they end up tangled together?
Rune, in a desperate attempt to uncover information, uses a truth-telling spell on Gideon.
Suitski move. Does it work?
It backfires spectacularly.
How so?
Instead of gaining leverage, the spell reveals Rune's own vulnerabilities
Oh no.
and her growing feelings for Gideon.
The magic meant to control him actually brings them closer.
The irony is not lost on them.
It's like a tangled web of magic, secrets, and forbidden attraction.
And just when things couldn't get more complicated,
What happens?
Cressida, disguised as Verity, orchestrates an attack on the Blood Guard
Whoa.
to further manipulate Rune and Gideon, to keep them at odds.
She's playing the long game.
And it works. The attack deepens Gideon's hatred of witches.
It reinforces his beliefs,
But it also creates a rift between him and Rune.
pushing them further apart.
And as if things weren't bad enough,
There's more.
tragedy strikes.
What happens?
During the attack, Gideon's brother, Alex, is killed by
Dang.
Cressida herself.
Yeah, wow. That's a major turning point.
It shatters Gideon, deepens his resolve to eradicate witches.
And what about Rune?
She's caught in the crossfire, framed for a crime she didn't commit.
With the Blood Guard on her trail, and the man she's filing for determined to hunt her down.
The stakes are higher than ever.
Back with Bookcast and more Heartless Hunter. So last time, Cressida, disguised as Verity, Totally flipped the script.
Yeah, she kind of blew up everything Rune thought she knew.
The New Republic is in ruins, witches are running free, and Rune's left picking up the pieces.
It's a whole new world, and not in a good way.
Definitely not a Disney ending in sight.
But Rune's mission is still the same. She's got to find Seraphine.
Even with everything else going on, she can't let go of that promise to her grandmother.
It's what keeps her going, you know? Gives her a purpose in all this chaos.
Right, because besides the whole witch revolution thing, she's also dealing with some serious personal betrayal. I mean, Verity, or Cressida, really messed her up.
That kind of betrayal, it makes you question everything. Everyone.
So where does she even begin to pick up the pieces? Does she turn to Gideon? I mean, they have this connection.
That's where things get even more complicated. You see, Gideon, despite being a witch hunter, he's also battling his own demons.
Demons.
Metaphorically speaking, he's starting to see that maybe, just maybe, not all witches are evil.
Because of Rune.
Yeah, she's making him question everything he thought he knew, everything he's been taught.
It's got to be tough, right? Torn between his duty and what his heart is telling him.
It's a classic struggle. Head versus heart.
So does he actually act on these doubts? Does he give Rune the benefit of the doubt?
He does, in a way. He even protects her from the blood guard at one point, even though he still thinks she's a witch.
Wow, so he's putting himself at risk for her.
It's a small act of rebellion, but a significant one.
It shows that maybe, deep down, he's not so sure about this whole all witches are bad thing anymore.
Exactly. He's starting to see the shades of gray.
But back to Rune, she's still got to find Seraphine? But how?
It's not easy. The blood guard's after her, and she can't trust anyone, especially after what happened with Cressida.
Talk about being stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah.
So what does she do?
She has to rely on her instincts, her magic, and whatever scraps of information she can find.
She's like this lone wolf fighting against the odds.
But even a lone wolf needs help sometimes.
Oh, so she gets help. From who?
From an unlikely source. Gideon's brother, Alex.
Alex. But he's dead. Cressida killed him.
This is where it gets a little tricky. This Alex isn't real. He's a figment of Rune's imagination.
Like an imaginary friend.
Sort of, but he represents more than just friendship. He embodies the support and guidance she so desperately needs.
So he helps her make sense of everything that's happening.
Exactly. He helps her confront her feelings for Gideon, her anger towards Cressida, her grief over everything she's lost.
Wow, that's heavy. But also kind of makes sense. She's been through so much trauma.
It's a way for her to process it all, to find strength within herself.
And does this imaginary Alex help her with the whole rescuing Seraphine thing?
He does. He helps her come up with a plan, a daring and intricate one.
Involving?
Illusions, distractions, and a whole lot of chaos.
This sounds like Rune's style. But I bet it doesn't go smoothly, does it?
Nope, not at all. Just as Rune's putting her plan into motion, Gideon uncovers some pretty damning evidence.
About?
Cressida. He realizes she's not only alive, but has been pulling the strings this whole time.
Double whammy, huh? Rune's trying to rescue Seraphine, and Gideon's hot on Cressida's trail.
And Cressida, well, she's not just sitting around twiddling her thumbs.
Of course not. What's she up to?
She decides it's time to make her move.
On?
Everything. The New Republic, Rune, Gideon, everyone. It's all about to collide.
Back again with Bookcast, your one-stop shop for bestsellers in minutes. And we're wrapping up Heartless Hunter, which is pretty wild.
It's definitely been a roller coaster ride.
Rune's about to break Seraphine out of prison, Gideon's onto Cressida, and Cressida's about to unleash, well, everything.
All those simmering tensions, all those secrets and betrayals, it's all coming to a head.
Right, and Rune's still got imaginary Alex by her side, helping her through it all.
He's more than just imaginary, though. He's a part of her, you know?
Like a manifestation of her conscience?
Yeah, and her strength. He helps her see things more clearly and make tough decisions.
So how does this daring prison break actually go down?
It's pretty intense. Rune uses her illusions, creates this huge diversion in the courtyard, fire and all.
Always with the drama.
But Seraphine actually breaks herself out of her cell, they meet up, and they make their escape.
Okay, but where do they go? I mean, they can't exactly just blend into the crowd with a prison break happening.
They need a safe house, and fast.
Broke.
They end up at Gideon's apartment.
No way. So Rune and Gideon hold up together while the city's going crazy outside.
Talk about awkward.
Beyond awkward, right? All that tension, all that unspoken attraction.
And they finally, give into it.
Boom. So they actually get together.
It's this brief moment of connection, a respite from all the chaos.
But it can't last, can it?
Sadly, no. Their worlds are just too different.
And then Alex shows up, doesn't he?
Yeah, real Alex, not the imaginary one. He's been looking for Rune, trying to warn her about Cressida.
And he walks in on them. Ouch!
The worst possible timing.
So Cressida sees this as her chance to really stir the pot.
Oh, she goes for it. Plays the victim, manipulates Alex, turns him against Rune.
Poor Alex. He's been through so much already.
And Rune ends up getting framed for that attack on the Blood Guard.
So she's back in prison, betrayed by the woman she thought was her friend and the man she's falling for.
It's a low point, for sure, but it's also a turning point.
How so?
Rune finally accepts who she is. She embraces her power, her witch identity.
It's like she's shedding her old skin, finally becoming her true self.
And that's when she faces off against Cressida, who's just overthrown the New Republic and declared herself queen.
Talk about a power move. So Rune has to make a choice. Does she side with Cressida, join the Witch Rebellion?
Or does she forge her own path?
What does she do?
She chooses the third option. She refuses to pick a side.
Because
She sees both the New Republic and Cressida's rule as oppressive. She wants something different, something better.
that's Rune, always fighting for what she believes in, even if it means standing alone.
But this decision comes at a price.
Yeah, I bet. What happens?
She realizes that she and Gideon, they can't be together. Not now, anyway.
Their worlds are just too far apart.
Maybe someday things will change. But for now, they have to go their separate ways.
Heartbreaking, but also hopeful in a way.
Right, it's like the end of a chapter, but not the whole story.
So Heartless Hunter leaves us with this sense of possibility, of change on the horizon.
A world where magic doesn't have to mean conflict and fear.
And that wraps up our deep dive into Heartless Hunter here on Bookcast, Bestsellers in Minutes.
Always a pleasure.
Catch you next time.